Hi Stampers, this is Kim Tolbert with Great Inspirations, and welcome to Stamp Happy Holidays. For today's cards, we're going to put together a bridge fold card. I haven't made one of these in some time, so I thought this would be a good time to refresh my memory and make a couple of bridge fold cards. Now these cards are a fun fold, and they're also a card that sits up all on its own. If I turn it this way, you might be able to see them a little better, but they do sit up. And they are quite versatile. You can do several things with them, change them up. Your bridge, which is right here, you can move it to the top, you can move it across the center. It all just depends on the focal images you care to use for your card and how they look. You can also change the height of the bridge a bit. If this is 1 1/4 inches, but you can certainly make it a little larger. You can trim it down to just 1 inch if you prefer. You can also do different things with the pattern paper, and you really don't even need pattern paper if you prefer to leave these blank or the same color as the cardstock, or even stamp on them. And then, as you can see, this one, it just has a top that's just straight across. So for this one, I have angled the top here to just give it a little different look. And yes, these cards will definitely fit in an A2 size envelope. You just push this way and they will fit just fine right down inside the envelope. Now, I'm sure you've noticed there's really not a great place to sign your name on this. So what we do, like we always do, is make a little panel on the back. And there's room there to write a message and to sign your name, even to stamp a bit of a greeting. And as you can see on this one, I used a little bit of the pattern paper just to decorate it up a bit. And on this one, I did a similar thing, only I did stamp an image with the greeting and used a bit of this pattern paper. So let's jump into this. And for those of you who've never made a bridge fold card before, let's learn how to do that. And for those of you who have, maybe this can be a little bit of a refresher or a reminder to, hey, that's a card fold I can use for some of my Christmas cards. So I'm going to place these right over here, and I'm going to bring in a piece of cardstock that is 8 inches by 4 1/4 inches. And this will be our card base. Now, all the measurements for this card, a diagram for the card, where to score, where to cut, all those things will be found on my corresponding blog post. And the link to that blog post is in the description of this video. So it's right down underneath the video. I think now it says more, at least on my iPad. Under the video, there's this brief description, and then it says more. And you just click on that, and that's where you'll find the link to my corresponding blog post. So we will need this, and the other piece of cardstock that we will need is our bridge, and it is 5 1/2 inches by 1 and is this 1 or 1 1/4? This one's 1 inch. Now, as was this one. This was also 1 inch. I was thinking it was 1 1/4, but it's 1 inch. And you can change it to 1 1/4. Like I said, you can make it 3/4 inches if you want, or even 2 inches. That's totally up to you, and it will depend on, you know, the images you've chosen for your card. So let's get out my trimmer, and we're not going to trim, we're just going to score. So I want to make sure and leave the cutting blade way up there. Now, this is really super easy to score. We're going to start at 1 1/4 inch, and we're going to score. Now we're going to go over to 2 1/2 inches. And we're going to score again. And then I'm going to flip my cardstock and do the exact same thing. Not flip it, just turn it around. And do the same thing. Now, if you'd prefer to know all the scoring measurements without having to turn your cardstock around, you will score at 1 1/4, 2 1/2, 5 1/2, and 6 3/4. Or, like I say, just score 1 1/4, 2 1/2, turn it around, put it in. We're going to do 1 1/4, and then slide it over to 2 1/2. And then we are going to fold, and it is a mountain, a valley, another valley, and a mountain. And yes, I need to get my bone folder, and we'll just really crisp up these folds. And then here's your card base. Looks like this. And now we need to, if we're going to decorate it, this is the time to do that. So I have a piece of pattern paper that I have cut out, and I did stamp a greeting on it, and it's going to take up this middle space. And I have cut mine at just under 3 inches, because this is 3 inches wide by 4 1/4. Now, if you wanted to, you could cut it at 2 3/4 by 4 if you want that nice border all the way around. But I just wanted to fill in the space. So I will get my adhesive, and we will do that. Now, the reason I cut this at just under 3 inches is because these score lines take up just a teeny tiny bit of room. So we need to allow for that. So this fits in here nicely. And there is itziest bitsiest bit of a, not really a border, but you can see right here, it's more on this side than this one. Just a little bit more of this space, but you really don't notice it, especially once the card's all put together. Well, we might notice that because now we have a, let me push that out a bit. There we go. And now I'm going to put the piece on the back. And I think I did measure this one at, no, I measured it differently. This is the one I measured to leave a little bit of a border. So it's 2 3/4 by 4. Make sure I'm facing the right direction. And there we go. And now this one is going to be, I told you, you can dress it up or you can keep it really simple. So we're going to keep this one really simple, but I do have some pieces for the sides. Actually, I'm going to bring this in so I don't get adhesive everywhere. Now, if you wanted to cut pieces to put here, you can do that as well. I chose not to. And like I say, these are 4 1/4 by 1, so they go from top to bottom, and then there's a slight border on the edge there. So there, we're almost finished. Now we just need to do the bridge. Now the first thing I do on this bridge, and of course I did not get my ruler, but so let me get that real quick. I'm going to reach across and get a pencil. So on the back side, which I know right now you really can't tell which is the back side, but choose one to be the back side. And we're going to measure over 1 1/4 inch and draw a bit of a line. It does not have to be perfect. And then we're going to do the same thing on this end. And what this is for adhesive. When we're putting adhesive on the back, we're going to know that this line is as far as we can go. And actually, I'm going to keep it, you know, more to the right of this line, and on this one more to the left of the line. Nobody's going to see this. We don't have to worry about it. That's just to tell us where to put adhesive. So there doesn't have to be any guessing. Now I have this strip, and this strip I cut 3/4 of an inch by 5 1/4. Because like I say, you can use lots of options we can make use of for these cards. There we go. And now we're going to put adhesive on the back. Like I say, I'm staying away from that pencil line. But we know we can put adhesive to this side and to this side. So now we bring our card in, and I'm just going to line this up with the bottom and the edge of this side of the card. Now, I'm going to, nope, not going to do that. Yes, I am. I'm going to line this up, push this down. The other thing you can do is fold this down. That's why it was confusing me. This is the way I usually do it. Fold it down and then press that into shape. And there is our card. Merry Christmas is on the back. And I do have some teeny tiny pearls. And I'm not really sure where I got them. I really think it was Stampin' Up! And I really think it was like umpteen years ago. I just found them in the bottom of my embellishment box. And I was like, oh, well, these are kind of nice. And they're just really delicate. So they're really, I thought would be really nice with this paper. Put 3 of them on the center portion here. And maybe we'll put a couple here. And there. And then we'll put a couple over here. There's our bridge fold card. Easy peasy. So now let's make one that with the angled top. And I have some things right here. And we won't make this whole card. We're just going to walk through the angling piece because the rest of it is exactly the same. So we're going to take the trimmer and once again use the scoring blade, and we're going to put it at 1 1/4. Then we're going to move it down to 2 1/2. I'm going to turn it 1 1/4. and then 2 1/2. And we're going to need this in a minute, but right now we're going to do just a teeny tiny bit of measuring. But I'm going to fold a few things so you can see those score lines a little better. Because these are the score lines we're going to be using. So it will be the second score line over. Well, here, we'll fold this one too. And it's going to be the same on each side. But what we're going to do is take that ruler again, and we're going to measure from the top down 1 1/4 inches and make a little mark. Then we're going to do the exact same thing over here. We're going to measure from the top down 1 1/4 inches and make a mark. Then we'll get the trimmer. This time we're going to push the scoring blade to the bottom because we're going to cut. And what we're going to do is we're going to line up our mark with the second score line down. Right there. And cut. Then we'll do the same thing over here. Second score line, line it up with our mark, and cut. And there is our angled card, like this one. Now when you go to put the strips on, if you decide to have them going from top to bottom, it's super simple. We just take one and put it on here, and because we want it to go clear to the top, you adhere it, turn it over, and just cut it off. Now, if you don't want it to go from top to bottom, remember the little trick? We move this up about 1/4 inch, turn it over, and cut this off, and it will fit perfectly with the border around it. So here is the angled bridge fold card, the regular bridge fold card, and then here's the one that we made together. Thank you for joining me for the Stamp Happy Holidays video. And until next time, stamp happy.